National opposes this Members' Bill.
I call Eugenie Sage.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm pleased to speak in support of this bill, which the Green Party will be supporting, because the Environment Canterbury Temporary Commissioners and Improved Water Management Act was very bad law. Canterbury University Law Professor Philip Joseph said that the Act, which was passed, of course, under urgency, in the dead of night, with no opportunity for public scrutiny, no going before a select committee, no submissions. So Professor Philip Joseph said that it breached several principles of law, that it is, and I quote, constitutionally repugnant, unquote, contains elements of subterfuge, and is a constitutional affront. And as Mr Joseph said in an article in the New Zealand Law Journal, and I quote, representative democracy and independent courts are the twin pillars of the legal system. The abrogation or suspension of the former, even at local government level, has menacing implications. And as he pointed out, electors have resisted the term of this Parliament being extended, and yet that Act put forward no elections for regional council for more than 3 years, and we still don't have the certainty of when any elections will occur, if they will occur. So, Mr Speaker, that Act was also very bad because it was retrospective. It suspended the ability of the Environment Court to consider the Hurunui Water Conservation Order and the appeals on that order. It interfered with water conservation orders to remove the regulatory roadblocks to irrigation, which is why the member for Waitaki's constituents probably favoured it. And, Mr Speaker, it's been very disappointing listening to some of the comments from the national members who perpetuate the inaccuracies and the myths which the former local government minister and Minister for the Environment, Nick Smith and Rodney Hyde, put about that Environment Canterbury had no plan for water. As former Judge Skelton noted soon after becoming a Commissioner, Environment Canterbury did have a plan for water. It was the proposed Natural Resources Regional Plan. It had been notified back in 2004, submissions were held on it, and it was ready for decisions to be issued in August 2010. The National Party's Act and the appointment of commissioners, in fact, delayed the notification of decisions on that Act. The National Government didn't sack MFE. The defects in MFE and the fact that there was no national policy statement on fresh water until very recently weren't seen as a hanging offence in the same way that the National Government categorised Environment Canterbury. But this bill goes a small way to restoring some of the democracy which we need in Canterbury by proposing that there be elections called. And as Rino Tirakatani noted, the cairn which thousands of Cantabrians erected on a very bleak June winter day in recognition that we need democracy in Canterbury, and in opposition to the actions of the National Government in making it much easier to tamper with water conservation orders for irrigators to access our rivers, still stands as a memorial to the very bad law which the National Government introduced to get rid of regional democracy. Because, Mr Speaker, that Act breached one of the fundamental constitutional principles, that there should be no taxation without representation. So we have the Environment Canterbury Commissioners putting their long-term plan out for submissions, which proposes that $79 million be raised in targeted rates and general rates, and there has been no opportunity for elected representatives to decide on how those rates revenues should be spent. It's being decided by commissioners without any elected representatives, and that is bad, Mr Speaker, and this bill goes some way to redressing that by providing for elections in Canterbury. The Green Party supports this bill.
I call Dennis O'Rourke.